Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 513 based on novel. So let's start. He won't die so easily. Is the future I predicted true? Or false? The worry in Yun Luo's heart had become even stronger as time passed. She could never forget those scenes from the past. During her divination, she clearly saw the back of the figure that would destroy the ancient star system. At this moment, she could only suppress the worry in her heart. She raised her jade-like hand and the surrounding cultivators all rushed forward. The Outer Realm army attacked from 8 different directions like 8 sharp swords toward the planet formation. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and shortly after, a monstrous shockwave spread out. The observing arcane void cultivators waved their hands to dissipate the shockwave so it couldn't affect the attacking Outer Realm cultivators. Mu Bingmai stood on a planet with thousands of God Sect cultivators around her. Over the years, as the God Sect master, Mu Bingmai had used her unique charm and Wang Lin's parting words to unite the God Sect. Since then, the God Sect had always listened to her and had used their full force in the battle at the Cloud Sea, at the Summoned River, at the Brilliant Void, and this final battle. They had suffered large amounts of deaths and injuries, and she herself had almost died twice. However, only a few thousand people from the God Sect remained. Sect Master, please go to the core altar, we can guard this place. Beside Mu Bingmai, an old man with white hair looked at her with a sorrowful gaze and clasped his hands at her. As he spoke, the surrounding God Sect cultivators all looked at Mu Bingmai. They all clasped their hands at her and said the same thing. Sect Master, please go to the core altar, we can guard this place. Mu Bingmai's eyes remained calm. She didn't look at the member of the God Sect that had followed her through countless battles. She looked up at the sky at the tens of thousands of Outer Realm cultivators that were bombarding the formation. Between her and the Outer Realm cultivators was a light screen from the planet formation which the Outer Realm cultivators were bombarding. Once that light screen collapsed, the cultivation planet would perish as well. There was a young man wearing green among those Outer Realm cultivators. He was very handsome but gave off an evil aura. He had countless ghosts of beautiful women who were formed by spells. They let out miserable screams and attacked the light screen. The young man's gaze penetrated the light and landed on Mu Bingmai. He smiled. Beauty, don't worry, this light will break soon. I heard you were the dead lord of the Sealed Realms woman. I have always been interested in pair cultivation with someone else's woman. This voice slowly came from the light outside. Not even the thunderous rumble of tens of thousands of cultivators bombarding could stop his voice from echoing. This young man was one of the 7 third-step cultivators below the arcane void cultivators. He raised his right hand and pointed at Mu Bingmai inside the planet and smiled. You are mine. Mu Bingmai's gaze was calm and her eyes became cold. The young man's name was Dao Feishan, the head of the Dao Fei clan, who were good at pair cultivation. His personality was cruel, and many God Sect disciples had died to him. This Dao Feishan not only liked women but also handsome men. Mu Bingmai had faced 2 life and death crises. One of them was being hunted by him. If not for Ching Shuer making a move to help, it would have been difficult for her to escape humiliation. Sect Master. I ask the Sect Master to enter the core altar. This old man doesn't believe the Lord of the Sealed Realm is dead. If anything happens to you and the Lord of the Sealed Realm returns, This came from an white-haired old man beside Mu Bingmai, his voice sounding anxious. I'm the God Sect Master. Mu Bingmai said softly, her words filled with determination. In another direction, the woman in pink who said, Lord doesn't know me, stood on a cultivation planet. Behind her were the cultivators from the Cultivation Alliance from the Brilliant Void. Although the alliance had collapsed years ago, many cultivators remained. However, as the battle continued, less than 3,000 remained. These 3,000 cultivators all came from the Brilliant Void. Although they were tired, they still stood there. They stood behind the woman in pink, ready to die. Above them, outside the light of the planet formation, tens of thousands of Outer Realm cultivators continued bombarding like crazy. Among this group of cultivators was a topless middle-aged man. He had a ferocious expression as he attacked with wind and thunder. Endless wind and thunder bombarded the planet formation. His attacks alone were a match for these tens of thousands of cultivators. This person was also one of the 7 third-step cultivators. His body was large like a murderous mountain. He let out a roar as he attacked with the tens of thousands of cultivators. He grinned and attacked the light screen, causing it to distort and become unstable. Everything is about to end. This is good as well. The woman in pink had hidden her deep exhaustion. Her body looked very weak, as if even the wind could cause her to collapse. She withdrew her gaze from the sky and looked at her fellow cultivators from the brilliant void. She wanted to say something, but her words were interrupted by a rumble in the distance. A planet in the distance collapsed. The thousands of cultivators on the planet died to a wave from an old man in blue. Another planet was destroyed. This formation was originally made of 999 planets. Each planet would form a light screen, and 999 layers would combine together to form a powerful reflective force. However, as the planets were destroyed and the layers of light shattered, the power of the planet formation was decreasing rapidly. The woman in pink turned her head and murmured softly, "Born as an inner realm cultivator and dying as an soul in the inner realm. It's just that I'm a bit unwilling in my heart. I haven't told him who I am." Tens of thousands of outer realm cultivators were bombarding the western part of the planet formation, and the light screen was on the verge of collapse. On the planet, Shizehong was biting her lower lip along with other cultivators of all heaven. Zhong Songlai and Shengonghu were also there. Master Flames Park was also among them. They were all heaven cultivators, and they felt helpless facing the tens of thousands of cultivators outside, watching the light screen being destroyed bit by bit. They were waiting for the light screen to collapse before erupting with the last power in their lives. When the light screen breaks, we all self-destruct. Are you all ready? Master Flames Park spoke in a low voice. They weren't the first group to choose to self-destruct. Almost all the cultivation planets here had chosen to self-destruct when the light screen was broken. In the distance, a thunderous rumble echoed. Another planet collapsed after the light screen was destroyed. A sharp laugh came from the planet formation, and a ray of green light flew out toward the Outer Realm army. The moment the green light appeared, a laughter came from the Outer Realm arcane void cultivators. The old man that had participated in attacking Wang Lin collided with the green light. With a thunderous bang, the green light dissipated a bit and retreated a few steps. On the other side, the old man retreated 1,000 feet and his eyes shined. With a grin, he formed a seal and black fog filled the area. "You are powerful, Reign Celestial Realm's Emperor Ching Lin. You are worthy of being the last Lord of the Sealed Realm's disciple. Your cultivation is clearly not as powerful as mine, but you are able to borrow the power of Joss Flames." The green light scattered, revealing Ching Lin's body. His face was pale and he was seriously injured. He had only rested for a bit before he left to battle the Outer Realm's third-step cultivators. Since the day the siege started, he had been like this. Just as Ching Lin appeared, a chilling aura came from the planet formation. A woman wearing purple walked out. Her expression was soft, but her eyes contained killing intent. She was from the Summoned River. She was the master of the Summoned River. When she walked out, one of the arcane void cultivators watching laughed. The woman who destroyed Wang Lin's internal organs flew out toward the woman in purple. Deep within the planet formation, there was an altar shrouded in fog. Ching Shuer was sitting there, his figure obscured by the fog. His body trembled and his expression became twisted as he endured endless pain. 7 strands of black gas shrouded his orifices. This black gas was like venomous snakes, and no matter how much Ching Shuer struggled, he couldn't force them out. Master Hong Shan was sitting behind him. His fingers continued to land on Ching Shuer's back. He was helping Ching Shuer force out this black gas. "Master Hong Shan, don't worry about me." Ching Shuer's eyes opened and were turning lax. There were 7 faint, black dots circling. "If I don't help you, you will die within 45 minutes. Master Hong Shan's forehead was covered in sweat. He waved his right hand and a black light appeared out of thin air. A puppet charged out while he remained behind Ching Shuer. Ching Shuer clenched his teeth and let out a roar. His slaughter essence erupted and collided with Master Hongshan's finger. His body trembled and he coughed out a large amount of blood, then he turned around and roared. "Don't worry about me." Master Hongshan looked profoundly at Ching Shuer with sorrow in his eyes. He then got up and stepped outside the altar. A thunderous rumble echoed. The arcane void old woman from the outer realm greeted him with a sneer. Ching Shuer breathed heavily on the altar as black blood flowed out from his mouth. His vision became blurry and he struggled to raise his head to look at a planet in the distance. That planet was where the woman in pink was. Is it her? It should be. A softness appeared in Ching Shuer's eyes. He had noticed many years ago, but he hadn't confirmed it. Just at this moment, the light around the cultivation planet the woman in pink was on was broken by the burly man using wind and thunder. The burly man let out a laugh and charged in with tens of thousands of cultivators. Ching Shuer's body trembled and his dim eyes erupted with the last of his power. He had lost his parents, lost his teacher, lost his lover, lost all his friends from the celestial realm, and in the end even Wang Lin seemed to have died. He had lost everything. He wouldn't allow himself to lose the woman in pink before him. Ching Shuer felt the aura of his daughter's soul from his woman. This aura made Ching Shuer very excited. He had laughed like crazy and had watched the woman countless times. She seemed to have become the reason for him to live on. She was his everything. Even though Ching Shuer was seriously injured and he could not live for more than 45 minutes without Master Hongshan's help, during these 45 minutes that he was alive, he wouldn't allow his daughter to suffer any injuries. This was something he had to do as a father. He felt a lot of guilt for his daughter and had searched for a very long time to find her. His mouth let out a roar that sounded like a wild beast. His hand smashed down on the altar and the altar cracked. An extremely powerful rebound force came from the altar. Borrowing this rebound force, Ching Shuer's body shot out from the altar and flew toward the planet that had its light screen shattered. His vision was blurry and he couldn't see the world clearly anymore. At this moment, the only thing he could see clearly was the figure of that woman on that planet. The woman in pink was pale. She saw the light curtain collapse, and the burly man was rushing in with the power of wind and thunder. The tens of thousands of cultivators behind him rushed in. She felt the cultivation planet below her tremble violently. As if it could not withstand the pressure of the burly man and the tens of thousands of cultivators behind him, the planet began to collapse. Countless gullies appeared on the earth and the ground began to move up and down like the sea. The cultivators beside her all rushed forward with red eyes. They were like moths flying into the flame as they charged at the invaders. When moths fly into the fire, do they really not know they are flying to their death? Perhaps they don't know, or perhaps they do know. As the violent wind raged, the woman in pink's face was pale, but it contained a hint of red. There was still a hint of unwillingness within her, but she decisively cut it off and walked forward. Her cultivation level wasn't high, but she was a member of the inner realm. She was afraid of death, but she wouldn't mind dying a martyr as their kingdom was about to be destroyed. The wind and thunder burly man grinned and ignored all the weak inner realm cultivators. Instead, his hand mercilessly pressed down. With this press, the black wind turned into a storm, and there were countless balls of thunder mixed in. The storm formed a black thunder dragon that rushed at the earth below. The only person blocking him was the woman in pink. The wind and thunder burly man stood on the head of the black thunder dragon. He instantly passed thousands of cultivators and was only a few hundred feet from the woman in pink. And like cultivator, the burly man revealed a look of disdain. The woman in pink wasn't qualified to resist. His target was to destroy this planet and go after the next one. However, just as he was within 100 feet of the woman in pink, his expression changed greatly. He looked toward the altar deep inside the planet formation. A roar of a wild beast came from the altar. It was filled with the power to destroy the heavens. It was filled with the wrath of a father that would kill anyone who dared to hurt this woman. Die for me. A ray of blood light flashed and countless red snowflakes appeared out of nowhere. The red snowflakes rotated rapidly and Ching Shuer charged out. His speed reached a limit. He was crazy, and his slaughter essence was erupting from his body. The thunderous rumbles even caused people who were battling far away to look over. The expression of the burly man changed greatly. He knew Ching Shuer and how strong Ching Shuer was. Almost no one among the Nirvana Void cultivators was his match. At this moment, he stopped thinking about the planet and changed the Black Thunder Dragon to prepare for Ching Shuer. However, this behavior made Ching Shuer's madness reach a never-before-seen peak. The woman in pink was too close to him. At this moment, the Thunder Dragon raised its head and was going to touch her. No one in the world knew of their relationship. Not even Wang Lin knew, only Ching Shuer himself understood. At this moment, Ching Shuer's eyes were completely red and instantly closed in. He arrived before the confused woman in pink and grabbed the Thunder Dragon. He then viciously threw it to the side. Die for me. The moment Ching Shuer caught the Black Thunder Dragon, countless red snowflakes gathered. Crackling sounds echoed and the Black Thunder Dragon's body stiffened. The strongest slaughter heart erupted from his hand and entered the Thunder Dragon. A thunderous rumble echoed inside the Thunder Dragon as it collapsed. The burly man coughed out blood and retreated in terror. However, Ching Shuer instantly arrived before him, and his hand mercilessly chopped down. This chop caused the burly man to lose his wits. He felt a life and death crisis coming. He knew he was going to die. Ching Shuer's hand contained an unimaginable amount of slaughter essence. A thunderous rumble echoed and the burly man coughed out several mouthfuls of blood before being forced back several thousand feet. A wound appeared from his forehead and extended to his abdomen as if it was going to rip him in half. However, his body was not cut in half. The anger-filled slaughter energy suddenly weakened during the attack until it dissipated. The burly man's face turned pale as he thought he was dead. He looked up and saw Ching Shuer knocked back while coughing out large amounts of black blood. Ching Shuer couldn't complete his killing blow, his body couldn't bear it anymore. At this moment, he was dying, and his body was caught by the woman in pink. Looking at his daughter's beautiful face, tears fell from Ching Shuer's eyes. The woman in pink was confused. She bit her lower lip. She didn't understand why Ching Shuer would do this. She knew who this was, she knew his status was high. The woman in pink softly said, "Why?" Just at this moment, the burly man with wind and thunder roared. His eyes were filled with joy and killing intent as he closed in. At the same time, a thunderous rumble echoed and the light screen around Mu Bingmai collapsed. The evil-looking young man laughed as he stepped into the formation and made his way toward Mu Bingmai, who stared at him coldly. The Lord of the Sealed Realm's lover will definitely make this lord feel very comfortable. Mu Bingmai's eyes revealed the determination to die. The people of the God Sect rushed out and were ready to die with their enemy. At this instant, outside the planet formation, Ching Lin, the woman from Summoned River, and Master Hong Shan, who were battling the arcane void cultivators from the outer realm, were also facing their biggest life and death struggles. This life and death crisis could end this battle. A power that could suppress the entire star system appeared above the planet formation. This pressure spread across the system and shook the minds and hearts of all inner realm cultivators. The hundreds of thousands of outer realm cultivators all roared in joy. Under the gazes of countless people, a giant rift appeared above the planet formation. The aura coming from the rift was from the outer realm, and a giant palace flew out. This palace was worshipped by countless outer realm cultivators. This was their holy temple, this was the sovereign's palace. The sovereign had entered the inner realm with his original body. The sovereign wore a black robe and stood on top of the palace. It was impossible to see his face clearly, but you could see his dried-up hand. This hand was as dry as a bone, but you could feel the destructive aura it emitted. After raising his hand, he pressed down on Master Hong Shan, the woman from Summoned River, and Ching Lin. "Everything is over." An ancient and hoarse voice came from the sovereign. As he spoke, a giant palm print appeared. This palm print covered the light from space as if it was solid. It descended upon the planet formation below. Space collapsed and a suffocating feeling filled the heart of every inner realm cultivator. This feeling turned into despair. Under this palm print, the wind and thunder burly man closed in on Ching Shuer and his daughter. The evil-looking young man revealed an obscene smile as he waved his hand and blew everyone away, leaving only Mu Bingmai. He walked toward her. However, just at this critical moment, a sharp scream came from the border between all heaven and the cloud sea. This sharp was not something a cultivator could create, it was an arrow. An arrow that contained destruction, anger, and slaughter. The monstrous howl echoed and suppressed the sound from the sovereign's palm. At this moment, it replaced every sound in the world. Wang Lin had arrived. The burly man grinned as he closed in on Ching Shuer and his daughter. Ching Shuer's eyes were dim and were about to close. At this moment, he looked into the distance, and although his vision was blurry, his mind felt a familiar aura. This familiar aura belonged to his brother, his junior brother. The woman in pink holding him also raised her head. Her eyes shined like never before and looked ahead. The burly man trembled and suddenly turned around. His eyes were filled with disbelief. On another planet, Mu Bingmai was filled with despair when her body trembled. Her eyes lit up, and with this light in her eyes, she looked extremely beautiful. A happy smile appeared on her face. She was rarely this happy in her life. She believed that he wouldn't die. Dao Feishan, who was less than 100 feet from Mu Bingmai, was startled when he felt an aura that made his scalp numb. He saw the gentle and happy smile on Mu Bingmai. Although he had never seen Wang Lin, his mind trembled and a terrifying speculation appeared in his mind. He suddenly looked back. There was also that other cultivation planet where countless people that knew Wang Lin was at. Shi Zifeng, Zhong Songlai, Shen Gonghu, Master Flames Park, and countless others. They all looked into the distance and saw the powerful arrow pierce the void. This was an arrow that was hundreds of thousands of feet long and had the power to destroy heaven itself. The tip of the arrow was a circle, and it howled through space, causing the space before it to collapse. Nothing could stop it. There was a person standing on the tip of the arrow. A person wearing white with a head of white hair. One could also faintly see two giant, motionless wheels following closely behind. At this moment, Qing Lin, Master Hongshan, and the woman in purple from the summoned river that Wang Lin didn't know all looked at the terrifying arrow closing in from the distance. Qing Lin's eyes were filled with disbelief. He vaguely felt like this arrow was familiar and vaguely recognized something, but he didn't dare to imagine. Master Hongshan was completely stunned. Not only had Wang Lin not died, but his cultivation level had reached such a degree. He was also rushing here in such a heaven-shattering and unimaginable method. The shock of the inner realm cultivators couldn't be compared to what the outer realm cultivators felt at all. At this moment, the minds of the hundreds of thousands of outer realm cultivators all trembled. Their eyes were filled with horror. Some of them recognized Wang Lin and were terrified. In particular, the arcane void cultivators that had participated in killing Wang Lin all turned around in shock. Wang Lin. He is still not dead. This is Li Guang's arrow. The expressions of the two celestial imperial concubines that had witnessed the power of the arrow changed greatly. This all happened in an instant. The arrow howled and closed in from the distance. Every star domain it passed collapsed, forming a giant gully that would exist for an eternity. This gully came from the border to the cloud sea. This arrow contained Wang Lin's anger and his slaughter after he went through the brilliant void, summoned river, and cloud sea. It instantly flew toward the palm print outside of the sovereign's palace. This was Wang Lin's battle against the sovereign. All of this happened several times faster than lightning. While everyone was still shocked, the arrow closed in on the descending palm print. At this moment, everyone's gazes gathered here. Wang Lin's appearance replaced all light in the world. All the outer realm cultivators, especially the ones at the third step, had to turn their attention toward him. Under their gazes, the howling arrow collided with the sovereign's palm print. The moment they collided, the palm print trembled violently and erupted with seven-colored light. This seven-colored light was bright, but it couldn't suppress the arrow that had no light and only killing intent. Thunderous rumbles echoed like crazy, creating a shockwave at a level that had never been seen before. As the shockwave spread in all directions, the palm print trembled violently and collapsed. When the palm print collapsed, the shocking arrow pierced through it, and it seemed to become even more shocking. It took everyone's breath away and dissipated the danger the inner realm was facing. It flew toward the palace that had come out of the rift. On the palace, the sovereign's black robe was blown back by the wind, revealing his dried-up body. At this moment, there was a twitch on his face and his eyes became filled with a rare trace of madness. This old man doesn't believe that the Li Guang bow in your hands can create enough power to kill me. The sovereign let out a roar and stepped forward to meet the arrow. In an instant, the sovereign's body appeared before the tip of the arrow. He waved his dried-up right hand and a seven-colored light cut-in appeared. It collided with the arrow. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the star domain. The moment the seven-colored light screen touched the arrow, the yellow, orange, red, and green colors instantly collapsed. Then the blue, indigo, and violet colors became distorted and collapsed. The seven-colored light screen was unable to stop this arrow. Wang Lin's cultivation level was not high enough to fight the sovereign, but only a few people in this world could stop this arrow. The sovereign was not one of them. The sovereign continued to retreat, and the sleeves of his black robe shattered, revealing his two dried-up arms. His expression was gloomy as he retreated, and he bit the tip of his tongue to cough out blood. This blood contained a hint of gold and instantly erupted with the power of the celestial bloodline. A golden sun appeared before him and the law of origin shrouded the star domain. This old man doesn't believe. The sovereign pushed the golden sun before him toward the arrow. Get the hell out of here, Palm Print servant boy. Wang Lin's voice echoed as the arrow collided with the golden sun. A powerful sound wave spread. The countless cultivators screamed as their ears collapsed and blood sprayed out. The golden sun violently trembled, but it couldn't move forward at all, even with the sovereign pushing with both hands. He was being reluctantly pushed back. In the end, a monstrous rumble echoed and the sun exploded, forming a powerful impact. However, it didn't scatter, but under the pressure of the arrow, it all shot toward the sovereign. The sovereign coughed out blood and the black robe around him shattered, revealing his dried-up body. He was pushed back and smashed into his palace. Thunderous rumbles echoed and several cracks appeared on the palace. At the same time, the arrow closed in, and just as it was about to hit the palace, the sovereign formed a seal. A giant well suddenly appeared before him. This well contained its own universe, it contained endless space. This well was the sovereign's second Joss Flame realm. This was a treasure the madman had given him back on the celestial immortal continent. The moment he took it out, the arrow arrived. This well wasn't laid down but vertical. The surface of the water rippled, and at this moment an exact copy of the arrow appeared. This illusionary arrow charged out from the water and shot toward the Li Guang arrow. The moment they collided, the illusionary arrow collided and the sovereign coughed out blood. His eyes were filled with disbelief. You are using Master's immortal celestial body. The immortal celestial body is very precious and there is only one chance in your life to obtain it. You actually gave it up and wasted it like this. But how many times can you shoot that arrow? I say at most 2. After 2 more shots, you will never be able to become a celestial in your life. Without the celestial blood, you are nothing but an ant. The sovereign's words were interrupted when the arrow landed on him and the power transferred into his body. His body collapsed, and the palace behind him collapsed with him. This palace had existed since ancient times and was the spiritual pillar of the outer realm. To the outer realm cultivators, this palace was a holy place that could never be destroyed. However, at this moment, they watched their palace collapse before them. The palace split into countless pieces and exploded. The sovereign was extinguished, the palace collapsed, and the world changed colors. However, the sovereign wasn't completely dead. The moment his body was destroyed and all power from the arrow dissipated, his collapsed flesh began to move. It quickly gathered and his body reformed outside the rift. The sealing extermination clan's 3-life spell. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. The revived sovereign had a pale expression. He didn't hesitate to retreat back into the rift after he revived. His right hand reached out behind him and the rift collapsed. His escaping figure was extremely embarrassing. The rumble still lingered, and as the sound lingered, the hundreds of thousands of cultivators were silent. Their gazes were all locked onto Wang Lin. That arrow was simply too shocking. On the side of the outer realm arcane void cultivators, the old woman was pale and her eyes were filled with endless fear. That arrow had completely frightened her. That old man in black was also terrified. When he saw the power of that arrow, it was as if he saw death. There was also those two celestial imperial concubines. Although they had high status, they looked at Wang Lin with fear in their eyes. So what if they were celestials from the celestial immortal continent? They still had to fear Wang Lin, who they considered a humble cave cultivator. In the distance, Grandmaster Yun Luo trembled uncontrollably. From her position, she could only see Wang Lin's back. She was familiar with this figure, and she was afraid. This was the back of the figure that destroyed the world that she saw in her divination. Although she is not my lover, she is the mother of my son, Wang Ping. What did you say before? Wang Lin turned around. His gaze was like a sword as he stared at the terrified Dao Feishan, who was 100 feet from Mu Bingmai. This video will end here.